Welcome to Super Celebration, the annual gathering of Bronco enthusiasts from around the world. These iconic vehicles have been a staple of American culture since their introduction in the 60s. Today, we're on a special mission to find the best classic Bronco at this show. From stock to fully restored to wild customizations, let's go.
Now, I could try to do this video on my own, but I guarantee you it would not be as entertaining. So we're gonna bring back a reoccurring guest on the Wild Horses channel, the one, the only, John Melton, Nashville, early Bronco.
What's going on?
And we're gonna do some Bronco hunting again, dude.
Yes.
In today's video, we're looking for your favorite classic Bronco. We're gonna give you a couple different takes, couple different picks. You walk us around and we'll see what we can find.
Well, first, before we even walk around, I thought let's start here in front of one of the classics, and this is Scott Schwartz Bronco. Now, if you have never met Scott, never seen this Bronco, and you're like, why in the world would John pick this piece of crap? It's like patch welded together. There's holes all over this thing. But here's the thing. This Bronco is like the essence of why we are Bronco people. Like, we drive these things. We wheel these things. They take us across the country. Scott has driven across the country in this Bronco and slept in the front seat, not the rear seat, the front seat, for like 15 days. So it's that kind of stuff that like makes a Bronco like super special. Obviously, they're the ones that look beautiful. They're the ones that like are show quality, but the ones that have like this incredible story that goes along with them, those are the ones that I really like.
There you go. Scott, come here.
The owner, right here. Mr. sleeping in his Bronco himself.
I haven't done that in a while.
I know, it
Seems like I'm growing up.
It's like life is treating you right. Or
A legend.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get Scott's opinion in a bit, but we gotta go hunting with John for at least one or two more rigs. But there you go. Scott's Bronco, ladies and gentlemen. The prettiest Bronco at Super Celebration, Tennessee.
Surprised I didn't rip off.
Alrighty, folks, one of my favorites is sitting here behind me, and I've got to tell you, if you've seen my new Bronco, you've seen the green on it. It's not a perfect match to this, but that was a huge inspiration behind what I did with my new Bronco as far as the color accents, because I think that this thing absolutely stands out. It looks like a beast, everything about it. And we've actually got the builder. Eddie, first off, you're the man, dude. You totally nailed this build. First question, Eddie, how long have you had it for?
I bought it in 95, so do the math.
I'm not good at math.
About 20 years.
20 years. This obviously didn't look like this when you got it.
Out in the middle of a pasture, sage grass growed all around. No engine or transmission, $1,500.
That sounds expensive even for then. I don't know if you got the deal, Eddie.
$1,600 in my pocket, so I walked away with $100 in my pocket in the Bronco.
There you go. Did it take 20 years to build this, or did it sit around?
2 years, 2-year build.
Only 2 years. I'm telling.
Coyote.
With that said, tell us what's in this thing.
Just a stock Boss 302 out of a 13 Mustang.
Just the stock Boss 302.
6R80.
Okay.
Dana 44 front and rear. High pinion Dana 40 front. High 9 in the rear. 456 gears. Detroit Auburn True Lock. It drives really well with these tires. You would think it'd be little, but I really got it dialed in good, and I feel safer. You can get on the interstate at 75. If you got a C4, you don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah, that 6R80 is a popular one. Tell us kind of what inspired some of that color, because people on the internet, you know how it goes. They're either going to love it or they're going to hate it. They're going to think it's too loud, or they're going to think it's like the perfect touch. I think it's tied together great. Was there anything that went into that?
Too many hot rod magazines and too many Polo 4, and looking at y'all's viewer videos and stuff, and just over the years, and that's gray's my favorite color, and I like the color match code with it.
Well, now what about that green?
The Shocker Yellow.
Shocker yellow. What about the Shocker yellow?
That color was found at Walmart on the little bicycles, and I said that would look good on the Bronco.
Nice. Inspiration from Walmart. You heard it here first, folks. Some people would think it's loud, but I think everything about it is tied together perfectly, from the suspension to the wheels and tires to the stance. I mean, you just did a great job, Eddie. So appreciate the time, man. This is for sure one of my top builds. Not only at SEMA, this is definitely one of my top builds at SEMA. What the heck are we doing at Super Celebration, Tennessee? So it should be at SEMA. Well, Eddie, we appreciate the time, man. Thank you. Okay, guys, this is Super Celebration. With 1,200 Broncos, we had to get some different perspectives here. You've seen a lot of the male perspectives. Why don't we get a female perspective? And who better to track down than the one and only Keisha? This is a big event, so we're going to have to do some hunting. Let's see if we can find her. Alrighty, folks, so if you don't know who Keisha is, she is the CEO of Bronco Babes. You've probably seen the pink Bronco hanging around. Keisha, it's great to have you. Let's take a walk and talk about some of the things you look for at an event like this when it comes to what inspires you. And you're pretty much supplying the female perspective at an event like this. You are an enthusiast, so what are you looking for at an event like this?
Something unique.
Okay.
Or bright or different, which is hard to do, not hard to do with Broncos because classic Broncos are all unique in their own way.
Okay, well, perfect. Well, do you have some in mind?
I do. Scott's is actually one of my favorites.
Okay, well, we got to back up there. And you know what's funny is this is actually Scott's second appearance, his second nomination here at Super Celebration. Tell us what you like about Scott's.
I like that Scott's is basically original and he just gets in and drives it and it's literally falling apart.
Yeah.
Essentially a dumpster.
Yeah.
And he drives it around all over the place and it just works.
You guys are good friends. I think you could get away with calling it a dumpster, but I'm also good friends with Scott, and I think that he might call it a dumpster himself.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. Well, that gets one down. Let's look for a few more of those. And I've said it probably 15 times in this video, but we've got 1,200 plus Broncos here, and we've got to track down 2 more for you, Keisha. So let's see what we can do.
So I would say this is one of my favorites. You got the boxwood green, which is a super popular color, but I really like, I don't know, I'd call this a milky boxwood green. Like some of the boxwood greens feel a little too army green for me. And this one has a really nice milky look to it. I love the Wimbledon white, old steely wheel kind of look, even though those are 16s. And then this guy also painted the bumpers with Wimbledon white. So like it has just this kind of safari Bronco kind of feel that I think is just really cool. You know, this is like a 2-stage paint. So you've got your base coat and then your clear coat on top, and it just pops, you know, it just looks really nice. And I think they did a great job with the interior and everything.
But no, yeah, I totally agree. I think this thing is so sick. All right, so my next Bronco compared to my first Bronco that I picked may surprise you, but for any of you guys that have seen my personal build, you guys know that I'm a fan of patina. Obviously, there's a lot of patina here at Super Celebration Tennessee, but this one caught my eye, so we're gonna pick the brains of the owner and the guy who built it. So if you guys wanna pop on in here and tell us about this thing, we've got quite a few questions. First off, everybody, this is Doug, and this is Woody from Badass Broncos. You put a lot of the work into this thing. Tell me some of the process that went into it.
Okay, so this thing was a frame-off restoration. We retained the original paint. We put 7 coats of clear on this thing. So it was taken apart, cleared. It was Livingston ceramic on the bottom side. It was bedline on the bottom side, bedline on the inside. We did a custom interior in it. It's got a Blueprint 306, a vintage air firm under serpentine system. It's got a vintage air monster fan, so mated to a 4R70W. It's pretty killer Broncos.
Also, in that case, Doug, what was some of the thought process that went into keeping the patina, making it look pretty and shiny, obviously going with some of the newer upgrades? What's going into your brain doing some of that stuff?
So I'm a big fan of louvers, and we wanted to keep it in that kind of realm. Woody killed it with the lift. It's a 3.5, but he did some magic in the back to get it all settled. It's got a great ride on it.
Yeah, it's got a wild horse's lift on it.
That is not why I picked it, but that is a plus. Well, how long have you had this thing, Doug, sitting in the backyard, or did you just pick it up? Where'd you get it from?
Yeah, I've had it for, I think, four years now, something like that. And it was oxidized kind of baby blue color, and I did the floor pans on it, and I was going to sell it. And I did a quick buff on it, and I realized it was lunar green underneath it, and I said, well, I'm keeping it. And I tinkered around with it for a while, and this thing's got to be done right, so I turned it over to Woody. I'm super happy. I mean, this is 85 miles an hour down the road, one finger on the steering wheel. Beautiful. Great. Yeah, it runs cool. He's got a 2-speed fan in it, so when you click the AC on, it keeps the motor cool and everything. So
Heck yeah. So Woody, talk us a little bit through the process of getting a build like this. You know, I don't know what condition it came in. It probably wasn't as bad as some of them that'll come in that are probably just rotted to heck. You get something like this, and how do you go about doing it?
This thing was super cool. You know, it was a little bit of a process. You know, you got to take it apart and you got to do a little bit of finessing to get the panels to fit perfect. You know, they fit pretty good from before, but you know, this thing had a plow at one time, so it was a plow truck.
Okay.
You know, so it obviously had a little bit of a hard life. Everything was painted apart, so it was painted all apart and then put back together. But the paint itself is original, but it's got PPG clear coat on it and quite a lot of it. You know, it's probably got 2 gallons of clear on it. So
Nice, and it does look super clean. I mean, super smooth. When you're looking at it from afar, and I don't know, even from afar, you're like, that thing's cleared. So it looks thinking good. Like Doug was saying, the stance is perfect. Badass Broncos is out of Texas, correct?
yeah, we're in New Braunfels, Texas.
Okay, if anybody's interested, what is kind of the process that you guys offer for some of these people?
We can do everything. So we're a full custom shop. We can do just modifications and servicing, but we do also full custom builds. So we can build you a Bronco from scratch, everything new. So
Good deal. Well, again, when I was walking up this Bronco, I had no idea that this was one of Woody's builds or that it was Doug's, but this thing is absolutely clean. I totally love it. It's definitely one of my top 3 at Super Celebration Tennessee. So thank you guys for the time. You guys did something awesome, man.
awesome.
Yes, sir.
This is my second favorite, Amber. I believe she goes by Tough Enough on Instagram, but I love her Bronco because, well, number one, she's a girl, and she's also driving a 3-speed on the column, which is actually another thing that draws me to the Broncos. If you keep a 3-speed on the column, I think that's pretty cool.
Which that's on yours, right?
Yeah, that's on mine.
Which I can't say I know how to drive a 3 on the tree, man. It's kind of a kick in my manhood, especially now that, no, there's actually 3 girls I know that can drive a 3 on the tree. I'm sure I could figure it out, but I'm sure every dude says that. But aside from that, what else about the build appeals to you?
Well, I love the patina about it because, again, it's like the rough ones that are really cool because it's like you pull it out of a yard and you go drive it. I'm sure like there's other stuff that they've done to this, but like just making it look rough and just driving it.
And I think we've at this point got quite a few different perspectives on builds. I've picked a patina one myself. I picked a shiny one myself, and there's been everything in between. So for you to pick something like this is not a surprise. And I think as of right now, there are more patina Broncos on the list of top Broncos at Super Celebration than the shiny ones. So maybe if you care about being in the video, take some notes and maybe take a grinding wheel to your paint. Alrighty, folks, we have got the one, the only, Scott Schwartz here. Scott, how you doing, buddy? You got a little tan?
Completely red. I'm a lobster now.
Perfect. Well, yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, Scott owns a what year Bronco?
71.
71. You've been doing the Bronco thing for a while. Now let's take a stroll and just kind of talk about what appeals to you when you're looking for Broncos at these events. You've obviously been coming to them for a while. What do you look for that kind of stands out?
I'm a big fan of blue to begin with. It's just one of my things. My favorite are the ones that are driven, regardless of what they look like. That's what they're made for, man. I love how much time and effort people put in these ones that go on a trailer, and I think it's amazing. People come up to me and they go, yours is really rough, and you drove it, and I drove mine because you drove yours, and that's my favorite. Yeah. You know, that just hits home. Pretty ones get me here and there, but, you know, big ridiculous ones like that one over there, that early with the 40-inch groundhogs on it. I love that just because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, you know, that appeals to me because that's old school, like 80s, early 90s, like show truck stuff. And that's what I grew up seeing in magazines and everything like that. I love that too. I don't know. I'm weird.
Well, I think we're going to have a fun time hunting for some of the builds that appeal to Scott Schwartz. But the reason we picked you is because we knew that was going to be the case. So let's go hunting, dude.
So like I was talking about, I'm looking at one that it just feels like it belongs in the era or whatever it is. And so this one, you got the Ranger stripes, you got the white wall tires, you got the 60s hubcaps. And even inside, they've got a igloo cooler that matches. They've got the matching carpet, the houndstooth seats. Like everything about this is correct in my mind. Obviously, I'm not the purist. I'm not the I know everything to a T. But like this, like everything about it, it just looks right.
If it feels right to the person who's looking. This would be a vehicle that anybody whose grandpa or uncle or whatever was driving this around, this is the one that would resonate with them because it just looks the part, I think, is kind of what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is for sure would be on my top 5 list because it's just so clean. The interior, you can't say enough about the interior, how good it looks with the houndstooth being well kept up. Whether stock or not, who knows? But I think it's clean enough that it doesn't matter. So
it just looks good. It looks right. So I really like it.
yeah. Good pick, John.
Thank you. Thank you. There you go. Nashville Early Broncos. Picks of the Broncos in the Super Celebrations.
All right, so it doesn't seem like there's too much difference so far in picks, male versus female perspective here, but we decided to give you one more shot, and we've landed on Andy Ogrechuck's Bronco. Tell us why you like this thing.
I like Andy's because he did something very unique with his, and he basically almost smoothed out everything on it. If you can tell, it's not an old tailgate. He really did smooth every crease out of this Bronco, and it's a lot of work, I would assume, to do that.
100%. Yeah, so this is actually one of the Broncos that we did a Bronco story on years ago before I got Evan and Emmanuel in to make the video super pretty. But if we start walking towards the front, you guys can kind of take a look at the color. Is the color, does that play any part in your decision for making this one of your favorite Broncos here at Super Celebration?
It does. I mean, it's shiny and it's blue, and the color really pops. It kind of reminds me of mine, but in a blue color. When the sun shines on it, it's brighter. When it's shady, it's a little bit darker.
That's actually kind of true. I think if you put these two together on a t-shirt, it would make the perfect t-shirt because it is the perfect shade of blue and the perfect shade of pink. But if we walk to the front, what else do you notice about it that kind of stands out to you for a build?
Well, he has no windows here in the doors.
Also smoothed out.
Yeah. Basically smoothed out everything. I mean, the dash is smoothed out. He's got an interesting story with his Bronco, too.
His transmissions. I think he's caught up to me.
Yeah, 6 transmissions and a motor.
Golly. I was going to say, I haven't done the motor yet, but my motor's literally sitting at the shop waiting for me to put it back in. So, well, very cool. Last couple of things that we can kind of talk about. Wheels and tires. You a big fan of those?
It fits his. Right. That's not my particular style, but it fits his Bronco very well.
I totally agree. Well, there you go. Keisha, those are your top 3 builds. Again, I think we've kind of hit the nail on the head when we've said that there are so many different options to choose. You could literally probably spend hours walking if you had enough energy to. But we appreciate you giving your feedback. I think you had some really good picks. So thank you so much, Keisha. Actually, one last thing we want. Where can they find you on Instagram?
Keisha_Lynn.
Check her out, guys. She's awesome. Thank you, Keisha. So after walking around for 45 minutes, we have come right back to the source. But it's because Scott's got a very particular sense. And what I've figured out from talking to Scott is when he knows the story and he can buy into the story and it's inspiring or it's cool or something that resonates with him, that's what you buy into. It's not how pretty it looks or how beat it looks or how built it looks. It's how much blood, sweat, and tears was put into that thing over the years. You know, does the owner appreciate it, and do I know the owner appreciates it? So with that said, we've got a Bronco back here that you got the story on.
Yeah, it's one of my good friends, James Harrell. He built this himself in his garage, and his biggest thing was, and he tells me this as a father figure, he's like, one thing a day. He's like, if I got home from work and had the worst day ever, I put a window winder on. He goes, I always did one thing a day, and I think it took him a year to build it.
Wow.
But in his garage, came out with this beautiful product.
Do you know kind of where it started when he got his hands on it, where it was?
Well, he's had multiple. He used to have rock crawler ones that were skimmed down and nothing. He always told us about how he was working on this one. And we never saw it. And then he brought it here, I think for the first time, maybe 3 years ago, and he had just got it done. But the cool thing is he drives the heck out of this. He put 10,000 miles on the first year. Drove it with us to Ohio for Broncos on the Bay the one time. And him and his wife cruised in it. And his biggest thing, he goes, come home from work, it's a nice day, hop in and just go.
Well, yeah, when you've literally been working on it 365 days in a row, give or take, you're like, might as well drive it, right? So with that said, Scott, thank you, man. You're the man, dude. We'll see ya. Alrighty, folks, for my third and what is unfortunately my final pick is scrapping. Now, this Bronco has been put together by Jesse and Mariah at Hella Bad Broncos. What's up, Mariah? How long have you had the build for?
I've had it for about 4 years.
Okay. Did you buy it yourself?
I did not buy it myself.
Was it a wedding present?
It was definitely a wedding present.
There we go. Jesse knows what he's doing. Okay, well, what can you tell us about this thing?
I can tell you that I wanted it to be patina. I had to have the hide and the long horns, and Jesse put everything else together. I didn't know what I wanted until he did it for me.
Interesting take. Jesse, quiz your wife on the on this Bronco build.
What kind of motor's in here?
A 306 from Blueprint. Their new one, actually.
Actually, it's a 302 block that they just came out with, so no rebuild block. It's only a 302, not a 306. We just dropped in the mile marker winch on it, so we had this kind of beat up winch, and now we have this retro cool new one. So that's been a big plus.
All right, folks, this is the one and only Todd Foss. Todd is Mariah's dad, Jesse's nemesis. Todd, this is one of my favorite builds here at Super Celebration. You being a Bronco owner yourself, a Bronco builder, what are some of your thoughts on your daughter's build?
Poor thing.
Her or the build?
Yeah, her. Yeah. No, it's awesome that people are coming together and giving them and help them out with the build. And the motor, you know, I try and talk them into something else, but they don't listen to Daddy.
Oh, please. What he means to say, and why he wants it, and he doesn't want to start tearing up, is because like father, like daughter.
Also, we have officially started a family feud, so you guys get on it. But awesome build, guys. Thank you. I couldn't say enough about it. But if you ever get a chance to see the interior, check it out. I think it's stunning. Alrighty, folks. So there you have it. Super Celebration East. I'm going to say it one more time. 1,200 plus Broncos. And I keep saying it because it blows my mind. I think as of right now, it's about 60% old Broncos. And so trying to find the best in that bunch, it is kind of a hard task to do. But I'm thankful for the help that I got from everybody that gave some of their feedback. If you were at the event, go ahead and drop your favorite Bronco that you guys saw out here. Let us know if you agree with some of our picks. And let us know if you're coming out next year, because we would love to check out your Bronco. So, with that said, make sure you subscribe and become one of the horsemen. We would love to have you. And with all of that being said, we'll see you guys out there on the trail. Peace!